So this is a mixed use building in downtown Union, New Jersey. I think the whole property is like 5,500 square feet. There are three tenants or three retail spaces on the lower level, and then there's office space on the second floor.
Got it.
He didn't really like it's hard to understand sometimes when English isn't their first language and they don't really want to be talking to me. So I tried to get as much information as possible. Yeah, so he said if you want to go to the income details,
By the way,
I
I'm
think he
on
said he was
viewer only. I just sent you a request to edit it, so I'm just letting you know.
uh, okay, hold on.
Yep, no worries. On the income details, and I'm going to make this a little larger. We go to 150. There we go. So tell me, what do we got here?
So he said that he makes $8,700 a month.
Okay.
And he said that the retail tenants pay the expenses, but like he wouldn't really, and I don't even know if he understood what I meant when I was like, but are they on a triple net lease? Because sometimes I feel like these landlords will say that the tenants pay the expenses, but they figure it into a gross rent. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's like,
Questions are always like, do they also pay the taxes?
yeah. Right.
So
Well, yeah.
no, what I'm saying, well, what I'm trying to say though is that obviously when you have a language barrier, like it's difficult regardless. I just like to try to ask questions repeatedly until I get an answer, specifically about things like are utilities separately metered,
Right.
right?
Because they are, yeah.
Correct, right? Are things like does the tenant pay your taxes or do you pay the taxes? Who pays them, right?
Right.
So I try to just word it differently, then maybe they'll better understand.
Right. He said that the retail tenants pay.
Wonderful. So, I mean, obviously, we don't know how much in reimbursements they actually pay, but we're going to say they pay something. So, okay, understood. So, and is everything 100% occupied, or we got some
The
vacancy?
retail tenants are 100% occupied, and
Yep,
then he was like kind of vague on the office, but it seemed like he said that there are two vacant spaces of offices, but I don't know how they're like
broken
chopped
down.
up, but I know that all of the upstairs is 3,000 square feet.
Got it. Okay. So the only challenge is that obviously we're gonna. Did you get any income from upstairs? 3 grand.
Yes, 3 grand.
Okay. So obviously, here's the only thing. Like this can't be 3,000. So even if we only just estimated it as 2,000, right?
Right.
Even if we did 2,500 to just try to be a little bit conservative as something, we're also going to bring that down. And we're also going to bring this all down. So let's go like this. This is a zero. Obviously, we got to figure out these two reimbursement numbers. You just put 1654. You type this in.
Yeah, well, because I think that was like the taxes divided by, like, so if you go to the expense details at the bottom, how you did, like, scroll to, so for, like, I just divided the taxes by 12 to get that monthly number.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, by the way, 16,600, 1,600 and change. Looks like it's actually both of these numbers together.
Yeah, so the taxes are 14,839.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I'm just saying the this number here, 16540, is a little over 20,000. So I'm guessing you included the snow, the insurance, and the tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously repairs and maintenance are on the landlord for the most part. Management fee, we like that. There's not going to be any landscaping, I'm imagining, downtown Union. Utilities, I'm guessing he's going to have probably he might have some utilities, right, with the office spaces.
Yeah, so he said that the second floor, he pays the heat and the water.
He pays heat and water. Joy. Okay, so then we're probably going to have something like, maybe let's just say we do, even if we combined all this and we just put it all under gas for like what, 12 grand, 6 grand, 8 grand, 750 a month, so 9,000. Who knows, right? Like like this is, I'm trying to be a little bit overzealous, but there's going to be some costs here that he's definitely not going to be reimbursed for. And then there's also some vacancy. So, all right, so we got $40,000 in expenses ballparking, and we have some
So, like when
income.
you put those expenses in, when you check the triple net box, does that go into the reimbursement column in the
It
income
does not.
details?
It does not. I thought it
Oh,
would, but it does not. So yeah, so basically I do the same thing you do, right? So you could just go to expenses.
okay.
I see that everything's totaled up to 40,481. I don't know why. Just curious what happens now if we just do this, $5,084. What the frick is that? But divide by four. Oh, okay, you know what I wanted to do? I don't even want it to do that. I wanted to do that and that. and then I want to divide it by this number, the 6,000, and I get an error. Joy. I mean, we could basically just use this as a total, right? As to what will be reimbursed, which is the 5,000 this times 12 divided by, like getting a similar number you have here, but I divided by a square footage number. So like instead of,
Yeah.
if I take this number, so 5084 times 4, divide this number by 6,000 square feet. So that number is $3.80, call it 89 cents, $3.89. So 389, I go to my income details, I go up here, and now I will take an equal sign and I do square foot times 3.8, 3.39, sorry. And
Okay.
I, yes. And I also then need to divide this number by 12 months because this is the
Mhm.
total for the year. And I divide it by 12 months. Now, obviously, these two bottom ones are not going to have reimbursements, but these will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the office tenants aren't on a triple net lease.
Correct. Anyway, so that's where we're at with this. Okay, and then we're going to go over here. I see that you also have the increased price. Now you have to be very careful. You have it as this is a total annual number and it's meant to be monthly. I'm saying like you put an annual number as monthly. So,
Right. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm just saying like be very careful here because now your income looks unbelievable.
Right, it's great.
So all you'll do is you'll take this, which I'm sure you meant to do. So what you could do is you could just change it here, right? So you can say like, okay, I think that right now they're getting what was that 17 or like they're getting like 20 bucks a foot, 20 bucks a foot, single,
Yeah,
double net.
it's really under market, but yeah.
How much do you think actual market is?
So I'm showing a space down the street. It's a second gen restaurant, so maybe it's like a little higher than market, but we're doing 31 a square foot net.
Wow. Okay. So let's just say we can do 25. All right.
Yeah.
And 25 and 25 and let's say the office is what? Do you think we're probably a little
Um,
under, but not much, maybe 12. Actually, you're probably gonna do gross rents for this.
yeah.
So gross rent right now is 36,000 a year for 2,500 square feet. You're at like what, 13, 14 bucks. Maybe you can get to 16 bucks gross, maybe 20 bucks gross. I don't know. Office sucks. All right, so then we're just going to do an equal sign. You take this price per square foot, and you're also going to do that. So times that number. You also have to divide it by 12. The only thing we're going to do in a second. The only other thing that you need to do is that you have to take this 25 and we have to add the reimbursements to it. So it would actually be 28.39 because that's the $3.39 in reimbursements. So that's technically the triple net rent. That's just how the sheet is built out. So that will actually calculate the total, including the net reimbursements. Okay. So this one you have it in 12 months. Sorry, 12 quarters. You're saying in 3 years that'll be up. What about the other two?
Yeah, he didn't give me information on how long the leases were. So I was just thinking of potentially calling him back with like more like on like more information on like our underwriting and then fine tuning it based on additional questions I ask him.
Smart. Now look, I mean, obviously, I always like to just put my end dates here. So
Yeah,
if you get a rent roll as an example with some end dates, you just put them here, and you can just kind of line up your quarter to market that way.
sure.
But so right now we actually have no idea what that looks like, right? So this is obviously going to be an irrelevant number, so we can't actually plug in anything, right? Because we don't know when they end.
Yes.
Joy. Okay, no problem. It's okay. And then we're gonna do this one. We're gonna say it takes a year to get this one rented up. So we're gonna do this times that. Bang, bang, done. Okay. So this is the only one that we know we can probably get rented, right? And we'll start to have some income over time.
Right. And if we don't fill in, if we don't know what the retail tenant's leases end, we're just assuming that it's going to stay on track at that same rental rate. Okay.
And you also have a 5% increase a year, which is insane. So
Yeah,
we're gonna change it.
that was just on the spreadsheet you gave me.
That's fine. Yep. So we'll just change it to 2 just to bring it back. And then we have a 5% vacancy. We're going to continue that 5% vacancy over here for our vacancy factor.
Sure.
All right. So this will be okay. Anyways, expenses. The only other thing here at the bottom, I will also add in admin. I will add payroll and I will add reserves, which no one really reimburses. So keep in mind, you're probably gonna have like 1,200 bucks here, 1,200 bucks here, 1,200 bucks here. You're gonna have trash removal, which will probably be also something like, I don't know, $2,400. And because this is not reimbursed stuff. Trash removal might, so you can add that. We'll add that.
Yeah.
We can figure that out. Only other thing I might want to add is some leasing fees that you might pay on the upstairs, right? Which leasing fees might be like, I don't know, 3 grand a year or less, maybe 2,400 a year. It's a tiny space. Marketing, 1,200 bucks, maybe 600 bucks. I don't know. So I'm trying to make sure we don't get too off track here because we can't be too narrow on actual expenses. So anyways, okay, we're at 6284. So let's just redo that. So 6284 times 4 divided by the 6,000 square feet. It's actually $4.18. So let's just make that quick adjustment. Let's put him in here. And geez, $4.19. That's what we're gonna do. $4.19. We're gonna drive that down. Bing bada boom. Okay, now we're good. So they want $1 million. Is that what this is?
No, he didn't. He's like, tell me what you'd offer. And I see that he bought it like 20 years ago
Hmm.
for $620,000.
Okay, well, look, first thing we're always going to look at is do what? When you finish putting in your numbers, what do we want to do? What's the first thing we're going to look at?
The NOI?
We're looking at our sale assumptions.
Oh, okay, that's the first thing. Okay.
Okay. So we're going to look at our sale assumptions immediately. We're going to be
So
like,
like if we
okay,
were gonna buy it, if we want to sell it in 20 quarters, okay.
correct. We want to know what is our future value. Okay, based on what we plugged in, assuming that we are correct, our future value with a net operating income of 70,000 bucks, even though he's saying it's 97 apparently, right?
He's saying it's eight.
He said the NOI is 97.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't believe you. Right? It's like at least nothing that unless he can show it
right.
with
Because he's
leases.
not netting it.
Yeah. So unless he can prove it with leases, then I don't believe this man. Okay.
Right.
Because like as of right now, our current gross income in year one is only $106,966, and that includes
Gross income.
reimbursements. Because it's like, look, based on what I'm seeing here, our current gross income on a monthly basis is only 9,148. Okay. Minus a vacancy factor, right? Which there's already vacancy, so more vacancy factor we have to follow in because it's office. It's only 106 gross. And again, our expenses in our first year is 46,531. So right now, I'm already seeing that like we're definitely not doing well here. If we paid $1 million, we're paying a 5.5 cap. So overall, I'm not exactly thrilled with this $1 million deal, but like I see some blanks here. So let's plug in some numbers, right? So we got 15,000 here at least. Closing costs. What do you want to put in here?
3%,
3%. All right.
right?
Yeah, let's do 30 grand. And how much work does it need? Do we know?
I mean, it's like older.
All
It's
right.
definitely an older building,
I'm gonna throw at least 50 G's at it. All right, we're making this a worse deal, right? So,
for sure.
which means that this number needs to like ready. This is what he paid for it, right? 650.
620, but yeah.
All right, 650. We're only at a 15 IRR. An 8.6 cap isn't terrible. I'm not highly against that. We are going to be somewhere around the 7.5 cap range. Sorry, 7.5% interest range, only
Yeah.
because it's a mixed use deal, and nobody likes mixed use, especially with office above. Jesus Christ,
Hmm.
we like want to avoid it like the plague. For the love of
Yeah.
God, stay away from it. The debt coverage ratio barely makes sense at a 70 LTV at 650.
Got it.
So
So,
with the office above, even by the way, I don't even know if you're going to get a 1.3 a debt coverage ratio approved,
yeah.
right? This might even have to be 65 because you might need a 1.5. Honest to God, you might just what they give you. Anyways, what questions do you have?
I was just thinking, like, I mean, obviously it's just a learning exercise for me, but if I were to call him back and just get a little bit more details about like the lease expirations,
Helps a lot.
the rent roll, and
So
then
ready? Watch this. Ready? Let's say that everybody's got a year left on the lease. You got a year left on the lease, no options. Okay. And we actually can increase these rents in the next 4 years, right? And then all of a sudden, all of them can, let's just say the other two are at quarter eight. Here, I'm going to bring this down. Let's say that we could do this one, this big lease, or this big office space. Let's say also we get more clarity on what the square footage difference is here.
Mhm.
So we actually can make some adjustments. And then let's just say this one is also up in, let's say, 3 years. They don't have any reimbursements, but they can at least increase the rent a couple bucks. Yeah, we'll just leave it that way. Okay. So watch what this does now. Now that we have all this, we then can go to our summary page. Number one, this goes up drastically. The IRRs are going up drastically. We also can say, hey, I'm actually going to sell this deal right after I lease this puppy up. instead of
Mhm.
waiting the other 2 years to get, for no reason. So then, and if we're selling at an 8% cap rate, which is very conservative, right? We're going to sell it at 1,026,000. Obviously, 650 is a stellar number, but now we can obviously pay more, right? Now we can
Mhm.
probably pay 750, not dollars. Jesus Christ. I mean, I definitely wouldn't pay this, but you
Mhm.
probably could find somebody who would.
Right.
The only thing here that I'm struggling with is still your debt coverage ratio. So you might have to be closer to, I mean, even 60 is only a 1.4.
So
So
you think for mixed use, it would need to be like a 1.5?
maybe. I mean, you might have some local banks that are like, yeah, sure, we'll do the deal and we'll do it for a 7.25 rate at, it just depends, right? Like, it's like it's not as straightforward. Let's just say it that way, right? Like, it's not like I'm going to easily be like, yeah, sure, every single mixed use deal with office on the second floor, you're able to do this. Like, it's not the same.
Right. No, I know. It obviously depends on the market.
Yeah. So, well, it's not even the market. It's just like some banks are just like either they love it or they absolutely hate this product, right? Or even I don't even say they love it. They're either okay to it, right,
Right.
at a very conservative debt coverage ratio, or they are like absolutely not, no thanks. Cool. Any questions about this deal? This is sort of just where my head's at. I obviously would get a gauge on what the leases are. I would get a rent roll. I would try to get clarity more so on the expenses and the square footage for these.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Cool. And then let's see here. Great job. We'll come to your next one if there's a little bit of time. Okay.
Thanks.
You got it. No problem.